Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee meeting to order Monday, June 6, 2022. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderwoman Howard,
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Oldenburg,
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Present.
Alderwoman Evans,
Present.
Chairwoman Davis.
Present.
7 present, you have quorum.
Thank you. Minutes, Madam Clerk.
The minutes that needs to be approved is Tuesday, May 31st, Wednesday, June 1st, and Thursday, June 2nd.
Okay. So we have, go right ahead, please.
I move we approve the minutes from those dates as mentioned by clerk. Second.
It's been moved to adopt our minutes for June 30th, 1st and 2nd. I mean, May 30th, June 1st and 2nd.
Madam Chair, that was May 31st.
31st? Okay. So let's call the roll, please.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Chairwoman Davis.
Aye.
7 aye votes.
Thank you. We have before us Board Bill number 1. Today, we are continuing our process of reviewing and having hearings from various departments in order to have a better understanding of the budgets that they have set before us. Today, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 departments that are going to present to us. And what I'd like to do, what I'd like to do is to get started here. All of the departments that are before us, I wanted to share with you that we also have on the line our budget director, Paul Payne, who will guide us when we have pertinent information that may need to be further explained, along with his assistant. And we also have from the mayor's office, our chief of staff, and Nancy Cross. So let's get started with our first is Information Technology Services. And the director is Cindy Reardon. And please start introducing any staff that you have with you and make your presentation. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. With me today, besides you, Nancy Cross from the mayor's office, also from the mayor's office is Simon Huang, our chief technology officer.
Okay.
But I thought I would start by giving you a little overview of the IT department and some highlights from the budget that you have in front of you for fiscal year 23, our budget request, and then let you ask questions if that sounds okay.
That's fine.
So the IT department covers the bulk of city government. We do have partner agencies, partner IT divisions, I guess you could say, at airport, police, and water department. We work in collaboration with them on a lot of projects. We serve the rest of the city government and some of the county offices as well. We have primarily 2 sections, what we call our network systems support, which is the network itself, the desktop support. Probably the techs that you interface with the most when you have to call our help desk are coming from that side of our house, our network systems services. They keep an eye on all of our switches, all of our internet connections, again, your desktops to make sure everything's working well. They've become very adept now at troubleshooting and helping people in the work from home environment as well over the last couple of years. So all of that type of stuff happens on our network systems side. And then we have the other half of our department is focused on applications and systems development. Oh, let me back up. On the network system side as well with our platforms is our mainframe platform, our operations center, and the hardware that goes into managing those applications. So then the second half of our department is our application systems development, which is more of our programming staff. They do programming and implementation in departments of new software systems or enhancements to existing software systems. That's where our GIS lives, our team that works on GIS, our team that works on CityWorks, the mainframe applications themselves. The ERP system is a big one that we've been working on over the last couple of years. And some of the county offices that have standalone databases and things like that. So that's kind of a big picture of where we interface with city government. Moving to the highlights of our fiscal year 23 budget, we're very, and I should have said on that applications development team, of course, a big part of that is our web team, which is highlighted in our budget this year as well. The web team is a team of 3 people and 1 part-time person, and we're adding 2 people to that staff this year. Another web development specialist and a programmer analyst too. No surprise, I think, to you would be that more and more of our citizen services and we want more and more services online. We want more and more of our interfaces with the public to have a web presence, not just a web presence for information, but an interactive web presence for communication back and forth for transacting business. So to beef up that team and to make sure they've got enough hands to see projects through, we've added those 2 positions. A third position that's added to our budget this year is another systems development specialist. That's on our network systems side of the house. We have 1 systems development specialist now. We're adding a second so that we have 2 sets of eyes and ears and hands and legs to help run down and troubleshoot network issues, which is becoming more and more of a 24/7 operation, managing the network, making sure we're bringing switches back online if something goes off, making sure we're managing all of our ports properly. All of that type of work really need another set of hands. So we'll be adding that person. And then lastly, a government services analyst, which is not a particularly technical position, but one that we find a lot of departments are wanting to do new processes, new tech-driven, put technology behind their processes. But the first step in doing that is to have someone, not necessarily a tech person, but someone who can sit down with the department, really do that business analyst work, that business process mapping, look at their current processes, where do they interact with other departments, what are the A, B, C, D, E, F, G of their process now, all of their steps, where could we build in improvement, where could we cut out redundancy. If we don't do that legwork first and we just try to add technology on top of clunky processes, then we get clunky technology. So we're really excited to be able to add that government services analyst that can act as a business analyst for us, help our programmers make sure that what we're programming, or that we've defined good solid requirements and that we're programming to efficiencies, and we're not just programming on top of, like I said, clunky processes. So a lot of times taking the paper out of a process is not as easy as it sounds. We don't want to just replicate the steps. We want to make them better. And then that's in the personnel side of our budget. Other places in our budget where you'll see some changes from prior years, we're adding some funds in our computer technology services line item that will help us with more tools for cyber threat preventions, things like multi-factor authentication. We are also looking to increase the number of employees in city government that have email addresses as we look at the ERP system rolling out in October for payroll go live. A lot of documentation that used to get printed, like your pay stubs, will start coming to you, to employees online. So we want everyone to have the ability to get those, and so they'll need email addresses. Another area where you'll see an increase in our budget is contractual services. Part of that is the continuing operation of the ERP system. And some of that is to start to dive deeper into systems that are remaining on the mainframe. The ERP systems has already pulled our finance system off the mainframe and into Oracle Cloud. As payroll and HR go live in October, those will also come off the mainframe. We have other systems remaining on the mainframe that we need to start assessing. We've already begun assessing and looking at what should we do with them. So the increased budget there is to either move them to a software system that we already own and we can implement. It depends on the system, what we'll do with it. But that additional consulting money is to make sure we do our due diligence in researching the options that are out there, primarily for our county government partners and the tax collection side of the house that are looking to do newer things. So I think that's a good place to stop and see what questions you have.
Okay, I think that before we start asking questions, can you, you used a lot of alphabet soup stuff.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Explain those.
Help me. Did you have a specific area where I wasn't clear?
Let's start with
Oh, ERP. Yes, thank you. My bad. Enterprise Resource Planning is what that stands for, and it is our backend, citywide government backend system for finance, budget, payroll, HR. So where we had silo systems before, we now have an enterprise system. The software that was selected 2 years ago was Oracle Cloud. So through the Oracle platform, we are moving like finance, which is everything in the comptroller's office and supply division, on the purchasing and invoicing of goods and services. And then also for the HR payroll side, it'll be everything that was, historically on our status forms and managing of our personnel records. Payroll, obviously the printing of the paychecks or the creation of the paychecks and managing the deductions and everything that goes into that. And there is also another piece of software called UKG Dimensions. It's a separate company, but it's an add-on that will integrate with Oracle, and it does the time and attendance. So getting rid of the paper time cards and the paper leave slips that departments do now. So, yep.
And the last thing that I didn't hear is the management of retention cloud storage, because we're not going to be storing paper. And normally what we do when we have agencies this small is we retain that with another entity for protection. Do we have that?
You mean with the ERP system specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the Oracle Cloud system is hosted by Oracle in their data centers, and the transactions are completely digital, and they are backed up and archived in the Oracle Cloud.
Okay.
So, we could always print information, print reports, pull data out as we need to, but it is secure in their cloud.
Well, if there's nothing else, I'd like to start with committee members to ask questions. Alderman Vaccaro.
Yes, Madam Chair, just a quick question, because I've heard this from different departments. That as we're switching over, it seems like a lot of payments got made late because they said the new system caused it to happen. Is all that taken care of? I mean, because they're blaming why we're not getting the new refuse cans on, that we didn't pay it on time. Other things too. I mean, other departments, when I asked, they said, well, it's because we were running 60+ days behind on making our payments. Is that handled?
So I don't know that we're 60 days behind in making our payments. There was a transition period though, and there is a learning curve, I would say, in moving to a new system. So the finance system that we're talking about here went live in March. There was a period in February where we needed to kind of stop transactions while we cut over and converted the the data from the mainframe into the new system to get everything up and live and ready for March 1. So there was a backlog that necessarily did create. And then going into March, as soon as we were live, all of that had to get caught up to speed. And at the same time, we were pivoting from a very paper system to a digital system that a lot of department accountants had to, it was the first time in, they had to learn, we had to get people, just through the hurdle of logging in, but then moving through a new system like that, it takes time to shift gears and get everybody up to speed. And then on the back end too, the comptroller's office, supply division, everybody that has to touch that transaction before they touched it on paper, now they need to touch it in the digital world and keep it moving through. And sure, there's hiccups and bumps in the road and tweaking as we go through. I think we're in a much, 3 months in now, things are smoothing out. We're going back and doing some assessment of processes to make sure that if something is getting bottlenecked, that we know where. So.
No, and I'm not saying blame. It was more of a curious as that all taken
Sure.
care of. I get there's glitches. I mean,
yep.
Every time I get a new phone,
there you go.
I have to call my kids or somebody and say, now what does this button do? But so I realize there's glitches in the learning curve. I just was curious if we got past that now. So it seems like you said we're pretty good.
Yeah, I think they've definitely put with our consultants along with us to guide us through this. We've put some measurable things in place to notice so that we know if something is getting backlogged, we can catch it right away and see what's going on and push it through. So yeah, it's getting better.
Wonderful. Thanks, Madam Chair.
All right, sir. Alderwoman Howard.
Yes, the only question I have, it looks like you have a salary reduction or a savings reduction of $50,000. Have you lost an employee, or are you just slimming down and becoming more efficient?
It's a shift. I mean, it is. So in prior years where you'll see it in the personnel detail is in the per performance line items in our 5112 account. We had a programmer analyst too that was per performance, but since we're adding a full-time programmer analyst too, we dropped that line from the per performance.
Okay. Well, thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
It's a long shift to bring about. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
All right. Alderwoman Boyd.
Hold on. Thanks. I'm glad Alderman Vaccaro spoke in regards to the ordering system, because I know as down at the board, we having a lot of challenges on regards to people doing the orders and then the orders coming back and us getting things. And so I heard you say that when you get to find out the glitches, you all address them. And so is it somebody that's actually working with those people to say, okay, Pam, you didn't get your order, but this is what you need to do, or this is the correct process?
Yes. I mean, those the operating departments that are the purveyors of the system, I guess, the business owners of the system. It depends on where you're at in the process where you're getting stuck, but the supply division and the comptroller's office are both helping the accountants navigate the new system and get answers if they're stuck.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I should add, I'm sorry, I should add real quick while we're talking about the new system that another benefit of it that we will realize as we get all the kinks worked out is more transparency of the data and easier access to the data in live time for the departments, rather than having to wait on, weekly or monthly reports that were generated on paper. That data at your fingertips is going to pay large dividends once we get through this change process.
Okay, thank you very much. Alderman Oldenburg.
No questions, Madam Chair, thanks.
Okay. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you. Alderwoman Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions other than to say that I'm glad that there's more transparency, easy access to the data that can be acquired.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mhm.
All right, thank you very much. I only have one question, and you probably are taking care of this as you're moving forward with the new process. When you enter into the City of St. Louis system, each time you enter, you have a different head, and I'm wondering, why is that? You know, sometimes it will show the listings of different. Sometimes it will take you to, I'm saying as far back as maybe 4 or 5 years ago of the head. And so I was just wondering why that happens. And is there a way to have consistency?
On our website, are you talking about?
Yes,
When you hit
yes.
when you hit the landing page?
Right.
Yes, okay. Yeah, it's on a refresh cycle based on whatever news is timely at the moment. So when you hit stlouis-mo.gov, the main landing page, the banner we call it, is usually, and I honestly don't know what our banner is right now. I need to go look real quick, but it's timely based on, it might be something about the summer food program for kids. Something like that is usually at the beginning of the summer. But so it's timely based on what's the news of the day. Now, a while back, and we used to have a rotation of 5 banners all at the same time. So like you said, if you hit it at one point and then you came back an hour later, you might see a different banner. I'll have to check with my web team. I don't think we're doing that anymore. I think we have one consistent banner that's changed more often, once a week or every few days if something new comes up that we work directly with the administration and their communications team on what those timely stories should be. And we'll take suggestions from any of the elected officials if there's something that they think is timely that they'd like us to work into the rotation.
So they're doing really good with individual departments having the current data, news, new products, new programs or whatever. But when you enter, the initial is what's bothering me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Maybe we can look at it together, because I'm wondering if you're hitting a certain index page, a certain department's landing page, if you're hitting our main our broad city government landing page. But maybe we could take a look at some screens together.
Okay,
Happy
we'll
to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Be happy to do that.
Okay.
Alderwoman Davis, I'm sorry. Could I ask just one question?
Yes, go right ahead.
Cindy, is it when this new system came, I know it was kind of struggle because you had to do it via Zoom and the craziness because we were in COVID. So did we produce a manual for people to have in hand? Because some people are good visually and some people are good audio. So did we have something to give them to be able to have in hand to refer to?
Yeah, I think we're working on that still now. What we chose to do when we launched was create videos that walked people through how to do the different things so we could actually show the videos of the screenshots. But I hear you. I think of a manual because some people are more of they want to read it or they want to, it's harder to bookmark a video. Now that we've got the videos out there, circling back with written documentation, they've been doing one like job aids, we call them, or cheat sheets on specific tasks, but I'm still working on getting that whole manual book like together. And I think that's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
That's okay, that's fine. Cindy, did you have anything else that you'd like to wrap up with?
I do not. I think I'm good.
All right. Well, I think I only saw one other older person. Well, yeah, I only have one other older person online. Alderwoman Hubbard, did you have any questions? I guess not.
No, thank you. Thanks for
Okay.
asking.
All right. Thank you. So I thank you for your presentation.
Sure.
I know that
Thank
you have a lot of work to do still. And You know me, I'm just picky, so it doesn't matter. Don't worry about me.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. All right.
Yeah, and I wish you all well as you move forward.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for everyone's support.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
So our next department listed is the Treasurer's Office. And I see everybody's already online here. So our Treasurer, Adam Lane, would you like to lead your presentation? You can share with us any staff that you'd like to introduce and or assist in making your presentations. And we're ready for you to move forward, sir.
I don't see Adam Lane.
That's
It
what I'm
was
saying. Let's see if-
No, I see Jane Sussman.
Was on earlier though, and I didn't go back and look at the list.
I
Uh,
can call the office chairwoman. I'm sorry.
Go right ahead, please.
Okay, give me just a second. I can call his office.
All righty. We are early because I think he was scheduled for 10.
Okay.
That's just because we're so efficient. We're moving right along.
Yeah, the presentations are very succinct and I do appreciate that. Yeah, he may have been just kind of looking in to see how the format was when I saw him on earlier. Good morning, Director Payne. Is there anything you'd like to share with us this morning?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Actually, I do have something for you this morning. If you like, I could do that now or do that later.
I absolutely would like for you to do it now.
Sure. You remember, and this goes back to that fire department line item. We said, hey, could we scramble to get that $60,000 in that line item? If I could share my screen, I was actually looking at that budget closely and it refreshed my memory. I'm going to
Yes, sir.
I will share this with you. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. If you remember, the question was about the $60,000 difference on the emergency systems and looking for that. And actually, if you look at the next page, this is from the Fund 1116, you can see that that was already taken care of through the emergency systems for Fund 1116, which is basically capturing that additional cost related to maintaining the equipment on the EMS side. So it's through the GMT program, and that's where the $60,000 is budgeted. So we don't have to scramble for that. So it's just a matter of them using both line items to pay their invoices as opposed to just simple 1010.
Okay. Okay.
So we're good, and I'll make sure the chief knows. He should have a copy of it, but he probably just wasn't looking on all of them.
Right. Okay. Well, you can share that with him.
Yep.
So he has the comfort of knowing that's covered.
Yep. So that just saves you that issue.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much. I also wanted, was something that came up in our conversation. Did we have something else we were looking at after the Saturday public hearing? And I'm going to ask Nancy to help me with my memory too. Was there something else we were trying to look at for the budget? Oh, we were trying to show where there's behavioral and mental health services that are in various budgets, like Department of Human Services, Department of Health, and the police budget, all the different places that we do have money funded for those different kinds of services. So we just need to find that. We wanted to make a list so that we could send it to the committee members and put it online for the public.
So Paul, I'm going to give you a draft list to look at, and if that's okay, Chairwoman, and then we'll make sure we have it, because a lot of it is not in the police budget. It's actually in public safety, which I know is splitting hairs because it's
Mhm.
still police, but it's not police.
I do
So
understand.
we will hopefully have that to you before the end of the day today, so you can share that with people. It's just more like a flash for people to be able to see how we're spending the money rather than the big document, because people are going through it, but not everybody wants to know what every line item is, unlike Paul, but.
I do appreciate that. And that's probably another reason why we had those questions, because a lot of people were looking for it in the police
Right.
budget.
Right, and it
But
may not be
yeah.
called what they think it's called either.
Mhm. Yeah.
No,
And a number of those services do address different things that people are concerned about.
correct.
Yes. I thank you for that. That's
You're
good to hear.
welcome. You're welcome.
Let me ask very quickly while we're waiting too, for committee members, as we're coming towards the end of presentations to us, have you had an opportunity to think about whether or not you had any questions or concerns about the budget that you needed to get assistance from Paul Payne to put it in a format that we can discuss and or execute? And I'll start with you, Alderman Picaro.
I don't, but I guess we'll print our own. Paul, can you email the cuts and put back paperwork? And I guess, can we do that online, I guess?
Well,
If
that
we're
was
not-
one of the things that, yes, sir. So
Right.
what I have suggested from the beginning is, if you have a concern, would you please share that with our director, and he shall put it in the format for you and send it back to you.
No, I understand. But usually, even though he helps put it in the form, they provide the sheets. And
And we're going to, and we're asking him to
Right.
complete that format for you and send it back, and then we can discuss it. Okay?
okay, so we're not going to do the sheets at all. So we're just going to call Paul and say, Paul,
The
I wanna
sheet
take
will
from
come
this-
back to you in the appropriate format. He will handle that for us. As we did with Alderwoman, boy, help me with the last name. Gerard helped with a lot of people's documentation with the budget last year. He helped put it in the format for you. And that's all we're asking him to do, because it's much easier for us because we're on Zoom. And all you have to do is just discuss it. It's in the format and we move forward.
So I'll call Paul and say, I want to take from this line item and put over to that line item. Paul's
Yes, sir.
cracked it all up.
Yeah, I'll
Yes, sir.
piggyback on that. Yeah, I can put it, and again, I'm not going to comment on substance, and the
Absolutely not.
substance questions are up to you. I just want to, so that any discussion gets confused with the technicalities of it, you'll have that in the correct form so that you can discuss the substance among yourselves.
That's right.
That's fine. That was my only question.
Okay. Alderwoman Howard.
I have no question. Thank you very much.
Okay. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Boyd.
I have no questions. I already spoke with Paul. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
I have no questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Alderwoman Evans.
Madam Chair, I have no questions at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's check back. Madam Clerk, I'm checking back with you.
The treasurer is on, his camera is just off. Tracy got in touch with someone from his office, but he is on.
Okay. Oh, I see. There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So good morning, Treasurer Adams. We are ready. I'm so sorry. You know what? My little brain is not functioning right, is it? Treasurer Lane. I am so sorry. I went. So we are ready. We were ready earlier than we thought we would be. I appreciate you having the ability to get on so we could continue to move forward. So the process, sir, is you take the lead on your presentation for your department. You can introduce any staff that you have that you would like for us to know who they are, use them in conveying information, but you take the lead in your presentation. So, Treasurer Lane, move forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. We had a calendar invite or a hold for 10:30, so I did just text the other two members of my staff to join me. My assistant treasurer, Christina Bennett, she and I work together on, and my chief of staff works together on the budget. So they are critical pieces to that presentation. So I don't know if there's an opportunity, Madam Chair, to come back to us. It's just that we thought we would be presenting an hour from now as opposed to now. If there's an opportunity for me to get them on the call.
Okay, so for me, I don't have another department schedule that I could skip over to. You
Okay.
know, it's so ironic. We have a lot of thought processes that take place.
Mhm.
And so we assumed that because IT has been such a topic with the changes and everything, that they would take at least an hour, and it was not. It was very succinct. And so here we are with this extra time. So do you think that they will be available, say about 10? Can we maybe move it up to like 10:15?
Well, I will check. So my assistant treasurer, Christina Bennett, just joined. I don't see yet my chief of staff, but I will ask to see if she needs time. So Christina, thanks for joining us. We're on a little bit earlier than anticipated. I know you're on another engagement. Thanks for hopping off. Madam Chair just informed us that we have an opportunity to present our budget. I know that we'll take some questions, and of course anything that we want to highlight and add color to. She just informed me that we have an opportunity to pause until 10 o'clock if we need that time, or would you like to proceed now? You're on mute, Christina. I don't know if you're able to hear all that. My apologies, everyone.
Oh, no, we're used to technology problems. Everybody's patient with that.
Good morning.
Good morning. Christina, were you able to hear everything I just said? And I saw you just put in your, no, okay. This is my chief of staff call. So I just wanted to first thank you for jumping on earlier. I know we had the hold for 10:30, but glad you were able to jump on. I know you're in another engagement. Madam Chair just let us know that, of course, we have the opportunity to present our budget, and we'll entertain any questions that we have from this group, but also gave us an opportunity if we needed to pause until, you said 10 o'clock, Madam Chair?
That would be good, yes.
If we needed to pause until 10 o'clock, otherwise we can move forward and start. And so I just wanted to give you the opportunity to see whether or not you wanted to wait until 10, Christina, or
Oh,
are you ready to go right now?
I'm good now.
Okay. And then in terms of screen sharing, I don't know what documents you all have in front of you, or if you'll need us to share our screen.
If you have a presentation, sir, feel free to share your screen.
Okay.
Anything that you share with us, we would ask that you also send it to our board clerk so it becomes a record of your presentation.
All right. So I don't know what's already been sent, but let me, so yeah, so my chief of staff said she's logging in. Christina, do you have anything digital that you would like to bring up?
Hold on, let me get my, I have what the budget department gave us. Let me see if I can share my screen. It depends on share screen. Let me see what I have open here.
So since it's 9:43, just so we can gather ourselves, Madam Chair, can we take that pause until 10 o'clock?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. STL TV, we're just going to pause until 10 o'clock, and I'll ask all of the committee members, use that opportunity to refresh yourself and be ready at 10. Thank you. So, we're going to continue with our presentations for today, and we're about to have our treasurer, Lane, give us his presentation from his department along with his staff. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the board. So our budget is in the budget book and it starts on page 106. So it's the same booklet or document that you all have been looking at. And again, it starts on page 106. So you will have fiscal year 21, 22, and 23 in front of you in that budget book. So you can see the growth over that time from last year to this year, what was requested and what was allocated or accepted from the budget division is that 1.4 million. So from last year to this year, we see an increase of about $50,000, and I will go through and show where that is. So if you move to 178, the biggest chunk of that is from salaries. So we have not increased any positions in the Treasury Department, but of course we are keeping in line with the increases that the other city departments are budgeting. We also did some work with pay parity last year to make sure that we are in line and making sure that our city employees are getting what they deserve comparatively to other offices. If Christina, if you want to add any color to that, you're more than welcome to, or Shirley. Okay, hearing nothing, I'll continue. Materials and supplies. So we see about an increase of 2,500 there. The biggest piece of that is that printing costs, paper costs are going up. So we have budgeted for that increase in terms of our materials and supplies, whereas most of the other categories remain the same. We're also not budgeting for any big tech increases. We know that we are keeping in line, and you all have heard the presentation from IT, but keeping in line with what the IT department is recommending, and then also making sure that we are ready for this ERP conversion. One of the things that could present some challenges to our department, but we're just making sure that those challenges are not financial challenges. So we're trying to navigate that situation as best as we could with IT's direction. Moving on, so that's 178. Moving on to 180, you can see just the positions. And in case you have any questions that are coming up, you can see all the positions, especially in our Treasury Department. One of the things that we are hiring for a few vacancies. So we know that this is a thing and an issue all across City Hall. So we do have some vacancies in those positions. Depending on when those vacancies are filled, we do anticipate some of those budgeted amounts being lower, but making sure that we do continue with what needs to happen. We do have those positions out there. They're already posted, and we're hoping that they're filled as soon as possible. Those are pretty much the big categories that I wanted to highlight. Everything else is pretty much the same or consistent, but I will open it up to any questions that this group has. And I see Shirley has her hand up. So did you want to add something, Shirley?
Sure. I just wanted to comment. I apologize. I was not, I did not receive participant privileges. So as the treasurer started presenting, I was unable to say anything. And I believe also Christina Bennett, she sent a text that she cannot either, I believe. So if IT can just make sure that Christina Bennett, our assistant treasurer, is set up as a participant, that would be great. And additionally, I just would like to comment, the treasurer kind of touched on our salaries and that's where the biggest difference is. I just wanted to note that fiscal year 2020, that was the start of the COVID year, and the parking division was already immediately having some deficiencies in our revenues. So we had decided as an administration not to give out any increases at all within our parking division staff. And we decided that we were going to experience that as a team. So our treasury staff, even though paid out of the general fund, they did not receive an increase in fiscal year 2020, nor did we do the $1,000 bonus at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
I'm giving them an opportunity to try to get Christina on as a participant.
Okay, you want to just come over here?
I'm sorry, Chairwoman Davis, I believe she is a participant.
Okay.
She'll just present from.
Sorry, technology. Good morning, everyone. Wanted to first, did everybody have a copy of, okay, so you have it in your book. Is there any questions that I can go over? Or would you like me just to go over the overview of the expense line items?
So we've gone over everything.
Okay,
but-
great.
So if there's anything that you wanted to add, Shirley touched on the salaries, but if there's anything in particular you wanted to point out, I did talk about the printing budget. But
Yeah.
other than that,
So obviously we're in transition phase for, we've got a payroll conversion as well as an accounting conversion that's in process. Payroll goes effective July 1. So we're trying to determine with the city side who the responsibility of printing going forward is going to be. We still have 6 accounts where we print off of the old Secure 32 40-year-old accounting system, and we have to figure out what we're going to do with that going forward. So our printing costs may go up or go down based on that. May go down. It's not going to go up. But our supplies for that have gone up with paper and toner significantly. So one of the things on the professional services, we did a very good job in the last fiscal year of reducing our expenses. So we reflected that in the budget. Most budgets don't go down. We reflected that in our professional services. However, we will probably hit that cap and may at some point based on we're in the middle of an investment RFP at the moment. So the ARPA dollars of the 250 from last year, as well as the 250 that should be anticipated this year, that's adding a good 500 million to our budget for investments. And right now, the first 250 has been sitting in cash with no fees to those dollars because of the low banking interest rates. However, when we do sign a new contract for investments, we will be moving some of those ARPA dollars over to actual investment management. So our custodial fees may will go up at the current moment. They're pretty low. And so ARPA dollars can be invested from 5 years utilized up to 5 years from the date of grant. So that's why we have held the first year in cash balances, but going forward, we've got a good 6 years to utilize those dollars on the investment management based on Board of Aldermen and Mayor budgets, anticipation rates. So I think that's the, we've kept everything pretty low on the Treasury side. We haven't really put much increases on expenses. So, I mean, any other questions you may have?
Not at the moment. I'm going to allow the committee to ask questions. So I'll start with you, Alderman Vaccaro.
Yes, my question really only has to do with just to get something straight. I know that the rate that we're charging employees to park went up. And I run into people in the hall that say everyone in the treasurer's office doesn't have to pay to park. So I guess it's the two questions we can clear up. One, do your employees pay to park like everyone else? And did we go up on the rate? Those are the questions that people ask me.
Thank you for your question, Alderman Vaccaro. The rates did not go up for city employees, and yes, our employees pay to park.
Okay, it just sets the record straight. People ask me all the time. So, very good. Other than that, I really have no questions. Oh, I guess, Shirley, did you want? Shirley had her hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Vaccaro. I know this is kind of off point, but just wanted to let you know that a memo will be distributed to Terry Kennedy today, directly to the Board of Aldermen in regards to those rates. But yes, employee rates are not, no matter what garage they park in, employee rates will remain the same. Thank you.
Okay, I mean, they're just, I get that when I run into people and they're going, well, in the treasurer's office, everybody parks for free. And so I just to set the record straight, you know, and if you do have a list of employees, not necessarily names, but out of your employees who does park free, how many, you know, what percent or something, that would be nice. Just set the record straight.
Our employees would be one. I don't believe that the treasurer pays for parking.
Right. Well, that's good. Neither do I. I'm one that believes the employee shouldn't have to pay to park. I think that, you know, we've gone through this before, and they say that it will, it'll completely screw up the whole city. We'll go broke, and we couldn't pay our bonds. And life as we know it would come to an end, and all kinds of bad stuff if we didn't have the employees pay. Like I said, I'm one of those that believe that, you know, we shouldn't have to pay. And, you know, if you work at the airport, you don't have to pay to park. And, you know, so anyway, I mean, it's a budget question, but it's a little bit off the line. But yeah, if you could send that, that would be nice. That way we can, dispel any rumors.
If I may respond to that last statement,
yes.
I guess it was. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what the sentiment about the world exploding, or at least it's the world of saying it's exploding if we gave employees free parking. But to your point, at the airport, it's actually an employee benefit. So we are definitely not opposed to that being added as a benefit, but that is a paid benefit by the airport for their employees. If this group or another committee of the Board of Aldermen feel that this is a benefit that they want employees to have, by all means. But of course, there are many lots. So we also have to think about capacity. We have to think about just the operation. So it's not just, all right, free parking, park anywhere you want, because we know that there are employees that don't take a car to work. And if there is an increased demand, we just have to be strategic about how we do that. So it's both something that we're not opposed to from an employee benefit standpoint, but then also if that is a conversation that we're having in a strategic manner, we're more than happy to entertain that conversation. I would just say it just hasn't been brought in a strategic manner as of yet.
Well, this obviously isn't the time or place, but I would like to get with you if there is a strategic way that we can put together employee parking that wouldn't cost anything, and you say in very specific lots and all that, I'd love to have that conversation. So if I understand, that's what you're telling me, that it could be done.
Well, when you say it doesn't cost anything, I think again that's we can talk about that conversation. I think everything costs something. It's again, if it's a benefit, again, benefits are paid by the city.
Okay. Well, anyway, okay. I'm going to end it at that. Like I said, I just think we don't pay people that much. But anyway, I'm gonna jump out.
All right, thank you, sir. Alderwoman Howard.
Just following up with that, Alderman Vaquero, I think that would have to be going through the Department of Personnel, and there has been conversations around that, but that's for another day. Pursuant to the Treasurer's Office, media says that you're raising the rates for public parking. What do you anticipate the profit to be from those raised rates? I mean, it's a considerable jump from what you were charging for parking for events and so forth. And I understand employees' rates won't change. I got that in the news release, but what do you anticipate your annual income, if COVID remains down and people continue to participate in public events, what do you anticipate your annual from the raise in parking rates?
Good question. So that actually goes into our parking budget, which is not part of this budget, but I can
Right.
still answer. Yeah, I can still give you an answer on that. So in terms of the significant increase for events, not too much. I believe we're going up $5 in certain places for our event parking. So we're actually not increasing that by a lot. And we actually had some other places that are lower volume event garages where it was $10. So that one goes up significantly, but here at City Hall, it's not going up that much. In terms of COVID reduction affecting our garage rates, we have seen a decline in entities. So with our garages, with those monthly parkers, that's really where the revenue comes from. Outside of the city, we have seen a lot of businesses that have not come back, and some businesses that have decided to go virtual with their team. So they're actually getting less parking. So I can't say that we're, just now that we've raised these rates, we're going to be rolling in dough. We are responding to the times, and there are a lot of places that just want to have their staff go virtual. I know out at Centene, they eliminate an entire building. So we have our projections, and that is in our parking budget. I don't know the number off the top of my head. I'd have to refer to that parking budget, but I know that it's not a exponential increase, but it's something that we are monitoring because we are still, in terms of from a parking standpoint, and still in uncertain times around how businesses will choose to move forward in the future, whether they're in person or virtual.
I guess the question pertains more to events and what percentage of your parking income comes from event parking.
So I would say so to that question, in regards to your earlier question about what do we anticipate the increases being, I would say pretty steady. So over the last 6 months, we've seen events pick up, of course, with the Cardinals going to 100% about a year ago and making the playoffs, which also helps. So we have seen that be returned to normal levels. So we're just, again, continuing to monitor that. We're still recovering from that 42% drop in revenue from the fiscal year 20. So the additional revenue does help, but it's more so getting back to normal. We're not far surpassing what we were doing pre-pandemic, even with the increases in the rates.
And one more question, and then I'll be done. Did you raise the rates for penalties for parking violations?
Yes, that was back when the rate increases went. So this recent increase that just got approved by our parking commission were garages and events. And then the rates back last October were the meter rates and ticket violations.
Okay, and you're fully enforcing those now?
Correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Boyd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question that I'm having, because I'm looking at this budget and on your education and no, not education. It was the health and something. It was some safety. It was, and public health and safety. So you're constantly going up. So what is that in detail? And when you're doing this public health and safety, who are you connecting with to educate on this? And what is that?
Okay, so that is a catch-22 line item. That has to do with, so if you look at our office supplies, those are Stratford office supplies. If you look at our professional services, we have investment services and whatnot. But in this, where we catch our public, I don't think it's a right line item title, but we catch our printing services. So we have two lease prints, 3 printers that we have here. So that while it says public health and safety, it's really not public. We don't have anything in the treasurer's office that does public health and safety. We do the printers. So we have 2 maker printers, and then we have the Konica printer that fall into that line item. So, and then we have 2 machines that print or fold your direct deposit slips. So all those expenses fall under that line item. So it's not the right appropriate title for it, but that's what has been utilized for the city for years. And if you see, we haven't really gone up. We've only gone up by $1,000 since 21 and not much since 2020.
And so I guess my question.
I don't have the authority to change it to say office expenditures or whatnot, but that's how it's been titled and that's what falls under there.
So who does?
I would be the city budget department. That's what, I can't control the changing of codes of where expenses go in.
So that's a Paul Payne.
That's a Paul Payne.
Yeah, well, let me jump in real quick. The chart of accounts is the comptroller's office, but I'll jump in.
Okay.
Which line item are you talking about right now?
5637.
Okay, the 5637 account. And you're saying that is for what again?
So that's our catch-all of our office supplies, professional services, Konica, that goes into those line items.
Well, that sounds like your 5635.
5635 is a lot of our office essentials, our printing, our whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't claim that designation of one.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Again, that beats me.
And just for all the benefits of the members as well, as we switch to the new system that Cindy discussed earlier, we're going to have a whole new set of accounts and funds, which this budget is going to be converted into. So be prepared for that as well. That's something's going to require a big learning curve for us as we go into the next fiscal year, this conversion. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I think there's going to be a simplification of some of these accounts so that they're making sure that they represent what is being charged to that particular account. There is a lot of redundancies in some of them, but otherwise, so there should be some corrections there. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the difference between the 5635 and the 5637, but I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Paul. And so on the education and training part, what is that in detailing?
So I am down 5 employees at the moment, but we do have some employees that have certifications or Black Accountants Associations. And so those are renewed training. We have the skill path that we allow our employees to take for whether it's Excel training, communication training, time management. So those are 2 specific line items that we have.
So the Black Accounting Association, that's the fees, the membership fees they have to pay?
Yes.
So it's coming out of two accounts. You got membership fees and then you have education and training.
Correct. I have a total of 8 employees. And so when I got here, I agreed that I would help my sharpen the breadth and depth of my employees. And so we haven't utilized, if you see in fiscal 20 only used 1,000, we really didn't use much in 2022. But I'm trying to grow this staff and bring it up to the 21st century when it comes to skill set. And I am down 3 accountants at the moment. So I'm assuming that when I get those 3 accountants, I'm going to be able to utilize those funds to be able to get them to where we need to be. So the skill set has been more bookkeeping and record keeping employees, and I need accountants. Especially
and I understand that, but I guess my thing, because when you said accounting, a Black Accounting Association or whatever, and so that's telling me that's membership fees. And so it shouldn't be coming out of education and training. That should be coming out of membership, correct? If I'm off, tell me.
Correct. No, membership fees is under 5648 and education and training. So I have different staff, right? I have accounting staff and then I have general staff.
Okay.
So my accounting staff needs accounting skills that I need to raise.
And
so
I get that part.
Yeah.
So the only question I'm asking is, with the Black Accounting Association, that those membership fees are not coming out of education and training, it's coming out of membership fees, service. Okay, and that's what I was trying to get clarity for. So that's all I have right now, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Alderman Oldenburg.
I have no questions, actually, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
I have no questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Alderwoman Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you very much. Treasurer Lane, would you like to close with any statements?
No, just thank you all for your time. I know that you all have been going through a bunch of these, so hopefully they haven't been too painful. I also just, as always, let everyone know that, I'm in room 220. So if anyone wants to have a conversation, I'm more than happy to do that. And you can or request that via Zoom if you're more comfortable. But if there are questions that do come up as you all are going through later on, feel free to reach out to me or any of my staff, and we'll make sure that we get you the answers to those questions. Or clarify anything that we need to. So just because this meeting is ended, if there are more questions that come up, feel free to ask those.
Thank you very much for your presentation today.
Chair Davis, may I make a comment? What I wanted to say to the committee is that while we don't see extremely cost savings here in our budget, we've been able as an office, since we deal with over 45 accounts within the city, we've been able to decrease the banking and banking fees for a lot of the departments that we do touch. So we do 35 account reconciliations that are not our accounts. And with those, we've been able to, with our staff, touch the majority of those accounts, reorganize them, restructure them, sharpen the pencils, and those savings go back to the departments. They are not our treasury savings, they are the departmental savings. So we've had some significant changes in the last year with our banking relationships to bring discipline and constant contact with our banking relationships. And so I wanted to make sure that I give kudos to my staff for working with the comptrollers and the various departments to allow our staff here to get involved and have those city savings.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to the next part of our agenda for the committee. And again, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee members, can we, wait a minute. Committee members, let's look at open discussion. So what I'd like to do is to go back through the committee, because what I want to look at is, I think we only have like two more departments that are scheduled to come before us. Madam Clerk, I think I'm right. And at that point, we'll be ready to have our full discussion about the budget and any changes that will take place. I want to reiterate again, if you have anything that you are concerned about changing, please share that with Paul Payne so that he can put it in the appropriate technical format. And then we will discuss it as a committee to move it forward. So let's start with Alderman Vaccaro. Anything else? Okay. Alderwoman Howard.
I have a question, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place, and please tell me if it's not. I was rather disturbed on Saturday to learn that our personnel department is not bargaining in good faith with some of our employees. Now, I know we get a separate pay bill. Would that be the appropriate place to address that concern?
I think that actually you probably need to discuss it at that point. But also, I think if you have a concern, you do need to share it with the executive branch. I think, Nancy, I think you're in charge of that
Still on.
process.
Yeah.
Beg pardon?
It looks like she's on. I don't see her face, but her.
Yeah, I know she's been on the whole time.
She may have stepped away.
Yeah. Jerry, are you on? Jared Boyd, are you on? Nancy Cross. Well, I think that communication needs to go to, actually, I would do all three. It should be to the mayor and CC the chief of staff and the director of operations, who is at the forefront of that process, because it is a significant concern.
And I think along with that, Alderman Vaccaro's concern about the parking might be something we could address also. So I will send an email and I'll copy the members of the committee.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Alderwoman Boyd.
I have nothing, Madam Chair. I can call Paul to thank you for letting us know that.
Okay. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have nothing.
All right. Alderwoman Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions at this time.
All right. Thank you very much. I think that as we move forward, we probably, if we have everything in its proper format, the other departments are not going to take that long, that we will be finished by the end of this week. Preferably, we can be finished in time to get it on the agenda for the upcoming board meeting and move forward. So that's the anticipation at the moment. But if we find ourselves, that we need to take more time, we will. Other than that, I think that we need to, I'm trying to remember. I think everybody was present. Yes, everybody was present.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So there's no reason to excuse anybody. And I thank everybody for being here this morning, getting some more work done, get some more understanding. And I'm looking forward to our next meeting. So I'd like to call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.